Hello, sir. I think many of you have already joined. It's 30. In the last class, we have discussed one graph related problem, that was all pair shortest path. So, we have covered single source shortest path, all pair shortest path, this type of problems. Okay. So today let us discuss a different type of problem, which is again a graph related problem, and we will try to find out a solution for network flow. So the algorithm is known as network flow, but it has different types of use. We will come to that discussion. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what actually network flow problem is? Let us try to understand that what is the application area and where it will be used. Okay, just for simplification, if we compare this type of problem is in network flow. So network flow means if a network is given, Now in that network we have a source, we have a sink. So from source to sink there are lots of intermediate connectors, and using those connectors what can be the maximum flow. So our objective is we have to determine the maximum flow. So let me show you here with one example so that it will be easier to understand. So if we consider that this is a source station, so I am representing it as source. This is our destination station. Okay, this is destination. So we have some intermediate nodes also. So they are not generating anything, but they are being used for forwarding the data. Okay, so these are the intermediate stations. Now from source, these are the links by which these nodes are connected. So let me take one example here. So these are the links by which they are connected, and so these are the links. So from this source, if we consider that it's like a pumping station. Okay, so from this pumping station water will be supplied, and our objective is we have to flow this water to this destination. Okay, but this source and destination, these two are not directly connected. We have lots of intermediate stations. Their objective is, so starting station or source station will produce the water. Destination station is basically a sink which will consume the water, and the intermediate nodes will work as a relay node. So they, whatever they will receive, they will forward it. Okay, now our objective is we have to determine the maximum flow. So through this network, what can be the maximum flow? So obviously, if we want to calculate maximum flow, obviously for each and every link, so if we consider that these links are basically a pipe by which these two stations are connected. So it must have a capacity. Okay, so if we consider that for this link 10 cubic liter is the capacity, 10 cubic liter per second. So here say it's 5 cubic liter per second, here it's say 15 cubic liter, and it's 14 cubic liter. Okay, I'm just putting some random values now. I'm putting some random values here. Okay, so if this is the network which is given, our objective is we have to determine the maximum flow through this network. Okay, so how is it possible? What will be the maximum flow? What will be the maximum flow for this network? This problem is very hard to solve. We have some algorithms, so we'll learn those algorithms. But if we want to solve this problem using brute force technique, then it will be very hard to solve. Just I'm giving you a very simple example here so that you can understand that what will be our consideration. Say I have a very simple network, this. Okay, capacity of this link is 10, capacity of this link is 15, capacity of this link is say 10, it's 12, and this one is 10. So if this is the destination node and this is the starting node, okay, so this is the starting node and this is the destination. What will be the maximum flow from this source to sink? What do you think that what will be the maximum flow. If this problem is given, you don't know any algorithm to solve this problem, but you have to find out that what can be the maximum flow. So for this link, so if I mark this link by some, I'm putting some labels here. Say it's ST U V and this is T. So the capacity of the link ST is 15. If its unit is cubic liter per second, so 15 cubic liter per second. So S to U is 10 cubic liter per second. So in that way. So what can be the maximum flow?
STVD.
STVD.
STVD. Okay. What will be that? If you say
35.
36.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I have given this question to you.
46, sorry.
Okay. Okay. Think again. I have got some answer. Okay. Think again. That in this network, this is a network. There is a single source. I'm repeating the question again. There is a single source and there is a destination or sink node, which is marked as D here. What will be the maximum flow in every second? So your answer is?
So T to V is 10 or 16?
Okay, this one is, okay, it's 16. Then what will be the maximum flow?
68.
68. Okay, you are not able to understand the problem statement. Okay. This is the source. So this one is U and this one is sink. So these are the pipelines. Okay. So for this pipeline, capacity is, say this one is 10 cubic liter per second. This is 12 cubic liter per second.
Oh, then maximum will be 15, sir, because just 15 can be passed.
Okay, so basically this source, from this source, it can send from, so from S to U, what can be the maximum flow? 10 cubic liter per
10.
second, because the capacity of this link is 10. Now, from U to T, if we consider U to T, what can be the maximum flow here through this link? 12 cubic liter per second. Okay, but this U, it will receive only 10 cubic liter per second. So how it will forward 12 cubic liter per second? Do you understand the problem?
Yes, sir.
So from S to U, maximum flow is 10 cubic liter per second. From U to T, maximum flow is 12 cubic liter per second. But U is receiving only 10 liter per second. So it will not be able to forward 12 cubic liter per second to T. It's not possible. It's a intermediate vertex or intermediate node of the graph. So an intermediate node can relay or forward maximum that amount which it has received. It's not a producer. Okay, so from S to T, what will be the maximum flow? If we consider the last graph we have drawn,
15.
what will be the, why 15?
Because from S to T, only 15 cubic liter per
No,
second
no,
can.
I'm talking about this one. It's 10 cubic liter per second and 12 cubic liters per second.
Then 10 will be the answer.
So
10, sir.
so the flow of this network will be, so maximum flow, if we consider max flow of this network will be minimum of the links. So minimum of 10 and 12. So obviously 10. So this value is 10 cubic liter per second. Okay. Now, so this is the scenario. Okay. So if we come to this example, this previous one, so this is not the solution. What can be the maximum flow of this network? So we have to think of all the paths of the network. Okay. From source to sink, whatever paths we have, based on those paths, we have to find the solution. So through this, just I'm going to, if the path is, what are the paths from source to sink? One path is this. Let me mark it. So if we mark a path like S, T, V and D. So the capacity of this link is ST is 15, TV is 16, VD is 10. What can be the maximum flow through this path?
10.
So
10.
maximum flow through this path can be 10. Okay. So if we think that this is the path, then maximum flow through this path is 10. So after 10 unit of this data transmission or water flow, so what will be the remaining capacity of this link? Remaining capacity of the link will be 5, remaining capacity of the link will be 6, remaining capacity of the link will be 0, because its capacity is 10 unit and 10 unit is being forwarded already from V to D. Is there any other path from S to D? There is another path, S, U, V, D. Okay. Through this path, what can be the maximum flow?
10.
10, 12 and 0, because already we have considered the previous path. So in that case, already 10 unit has been forwarded through this link. This link cannot forward any more data or more water. The capacity of this link is 10 unit per second. So it can't forward any more data. Is it fine? If you say that again, just without updation, as you are thinking that the value will be 10. So 10 plus 12 plus 10, 10, 12 and 10, the minimum is 10. So if you say that again I will forward 10 unit of data through this link, so as a whole, through the previous path 10 unit data is being forwarded, through the second path again 10 unit data is being forwarded. So through this path or through this link, what will be the data transfer? 10 plus 10, but its capacity is only 10. So it's not allowed. So in that case, this value is not 10. Once you are utilizing some link, you have to think for next path consideration, you have to think of the remaining capacity. Okay. So if you consider the remaining capacity, from the remaining capacity, it will be 0. So if the remaining capacity is 0, so this value is 0, it's not 10. So in that case, maximum flow through this path will be 0. So from source to sink, there is no more alternative path. So from source to sink, what will be the maximum flow? 10 plus 0. So maximum flow between S and D is 10. Now, if we consider that no, someone is taking some different path at the beginning. So if I say that instead of considering this, if someone is taking some different path, okay, so some different path means first I will take S to U, then U to V and V to D. So what will be the maximum flow in that case? S to U, initially it was 10, so 10, 12 and D is 10. So maximum flow through this path is 10. In that case, 10 capacity will be updated. So 10 minus 10, already 10 unit is being used. So its capacity, remaining capacity is 0. Its remaining capacity is 2. Its remaining capacity is 0. Now, if you take the next path, S T V D, in that case, what will be the flow, maximum flow? It's minimum of 15, 16 and 0. So again through this path this value is 0. So what will be the maximum flow? So max flow remains
10.
same, 10 plus 0, so remains same. So max flow will not change. Whatever path you take earlier, so consideration of path in different order doesn't affect the result. Even if I think that I want to calculate maximum flow, but I will take the paths in different way. Let me consider that is it visible? I think okay. So let me take this one, that I have a path. So I have a path S to T, T to V and V to D. Through this path I want to transfer 6 unit. Okay. So if I transfer 6 unit through this path, then after 6 unit, what will be the remaining capacity? Instead of 15, it will be 9. T to V, it will be 10. V to D, remaining capacity is 4. Okay, 10 minus 6, 4. Now if I consider another path, S, U, V and D. SUVD, what will be the cap flow, maximum flow through this? SU is 10, UV is 12 and VD is remaining capacity is 4. What will be the flow? It will be 4 unit. So 6 plus 4 is again 10. Okay. So this is the purpose. So we are going to implement or learn one algorithm which is known as network flow algorithm. So the purpose is, in a network, if there is a single source and there is a single sink, we have to calculate the maximum flow from this source to sink. Okay. So there are lots of different application of this. We'll discuss some of the applications later. Now if you can just at this moment you can consider that if there is a pumping station, okay, from that pumping station, for different region there will be some pipeline for supplying this water in this municipality. There will be multiple pipelines. Sometimes these pipelines are interconnected, okay, and sometimes we install some substations to maintain the flow. So if there's a single sink, what will be the flow of this network? We can represent it as a network. Now what will be the flow of this network? So first we have to understand that here we have given some example, but we have to understand what will be the theory behind this. Okay, so there are two different theorems. We are coming to that, but this is a situation, a scenario where this network flow problem is used. Okay, do you have any query regarding this problem statement? You can't directly consider this problem with municipality, water supply system of the municipality, because there are multiple sinks. Every household is basically a sink. They are consuming the resource. But this is a different problem. It's not like that. But we have, if the situation is we have a single source and we have a single sink, then this algorithm will solve the problem.
Sir, is there any other application of this problem?
In electronic circuit design, mostly this algorithm is used. Basically, I can give you some problem statements, but I think it will be difficult at this moment. Just I am giving you some examples. There are lots of common examples. Let me show you. Okay. Okay, I'm coming to the problem statement. I'm giving you some real examples, but do you understand the problem scenario that why you have to use it if the problem is like what kind of problem this technique will be used? Is it clear? And why we are considering the remaining capacity of the link, the approach which we are following, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I have to need some simple problems, I think. Which okay. Oh. In real life application, in most of the real life applications, a single source multi-sync. Anything else? No, we have to think from electronics devices, like we have a power supply. Okay, we have a power supply line. So on a circuit, there will be a power supply. Now, so this is the source generally considered, and this is the sink. So electron will flow, though actually electron is flowing from negative to positive direction, but we consider the current is flowing in the opposite direction. So this is the sink. Okay, so this is a source and this is another point which is sink. Now the current, generally to run this circuit, current will flow through different nodes. So these nodes are basically some computing units. Okay, so if we consider these units through which this current will flow, okay, there are some constraints that generally the things are running in the opposite concept, like in every link, if we consider that in this network we have to find the maximum flow. Okay, we have to determine the maximum flow through this network. So what will be the maximum flow through this channel? So we have to find the maximum flow through each and every path. Okay, because in this network we have only single source and single sink. There is no multiple sink. In case of water line or gas pipeline, so in those cases we have multiple sink. But on a circuit board, there is a single source and single sink. So in those type of scenarios, this max flow is applied to determine the maximum flow. So how will you compare it with the capacity of the links? Like if I consider this path, okay, through this path, oh, only few units of current will flow. So if I consider that it's 0.5 ampere, through this path the maximum flow can be 0.2 ampere. Through this path current flow is, oh sorry, this is not a link. Yeah, through this path current flow is 3 ampere. Through this path current flow is 1 ampere or 0.1 ampere. Okay, so if for each and every link this flow is being given, the flow will be determined by the devices which are connected or the components which are installed to design this circuit. Okay, so what will be the maximum flow through this network? Whether can you correlate with this network flow problem? Hello.
স্যার এখানেও তো মানে ম্যাক্সিমাম ফ্লোটাকে বের করতে হবে।
হ্যাঁ, ম্যাক্সিমাম ফ্লো বের করতে হবে সেরকমই আমি এক্সাম্পল চাইছি, কিন্তু এক্স্যাক্টলি রিয়েল লাইফ থেকে এক্সাম্পলগুলো পাওয়া মানে অন্যান্য ক্ষেত্রে যেরকমভাবে তুমি রিয়েল লাইফের প্রবলেমের সাথে কম্পেয়ার করতে পারবে, ম্যাক্স ফ্লোর মেনকাট থিওরেম ঠিক রিয়েল লাইফে এরকম প্রবলেম আমরা ফেস করি না। মানে এটাই হচ্ছে, মানে সেই জন্যই আমার এক্সাম্পলটা আমি একদম রিয়েল লাইফ তোমার সারাউন্ডিংস থেকে আমি দিতে পারছি না। Okay. Now we will move towards the algorithmic representation. Hello. কিছু বলবে কেউ? ওকে, তো আমরা এবার এখান থেকে আসব যে we will discuss few things. One is max flow min cut theorem. So first we have to understand what is max flow min cut theorem. Okay. তো আমি 3-4 মিনিটের জন্য একটা ব্রেক নিচ্ছি, একটু একজনের সাথে একটু কথা বলে নিতে হবে রিগার্ডিং মার্কস সাবমিশন। আমি একটু 2 মিনিট 3 মিনিটের মধ্যে আমি বসছি।
ওকে স্যার।
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's consider one application like we have to transfer. Okay, basically in case of transportation system, if we say that this is the location and this is Kolkata, we have multiple rail routes. Okay, now among these rail routes, for each and every route we have some capacity. Now if every route has some capacity, then if we want to transfer some goods from this location, this is the source and this is the destination location. So you have to use railway transportation system for transferring these goods from one city to another city, and it is connected via multiple intermediate cities, and we have multiple route from Delhi to Kolkata. So in every route we have some capacity, like you know that in case of railway system, it is the maximum value is specific, that through this route this number of trains can be, you can travel this number of trains in every hour. So if we want to determine the maximum flow, so in minimum time we have to transfer maximum volume of goods from source to destination. So your objective is to determine the path in such a way that it will be a max flow problem. Okay, so in every hour you can, if you can determine the maximum flow, then in minimum time you can transport these goods from one city to another city. So this is a problem which can be solved using this Ford-Fulkerson algorithm. Okay, so it's a basically network flow problem which can be solved, but mostly this type of algorithms are used in designing electronic circuits, but it will be difficult to you to understand that how it will be applied there. Though in case of previously we have discussed Prim's and Kruskal's algorithm. So in Prim's and Kruskal's algorithm, it's easy to understand that if we have a single source, then we have to install the wires in such a way so that the cost of installation is minimum. So we are determining minimal spanning tree, so that each and every desired location is being connected. So each and every node should get electric supply. So what will be the minimum cost for installation of this electric supply? So the length of this cable should be minimum. Okay, the length of the wire should be minimum. But here the problem is we have to determine, we have a network where we have to determine maximum flow. So from single source to single destination, what can be the maximum flow? So you have to schedule the trains accordingly so that the maximum flow can be achieved. Okay. Is it clear, or I have to discuss with more detail, in more detail? Like if I consider a link like this one, this is the link. Why it has a capacity? Capacity means in this link, if we say that we can run trains in 5-minute interval. So through this link, within 5 minutes, one train departs this station. If this train departs at 10 a.m., we can't allocate another train to depart this station before 10:05 am. So it should wait at least 5 minutes. So capacity of this link will be, if we consider 1 hour, then capacity of this link will be 12 trains. So through this link, maximum 12 trains can flow in every hour. Similarly, in every link, we can consider some capacity, and this duration will be determined based on the minimum signaling delay. Okay, so this is a problem which needs to be solved using max flow method. Okay, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us try to understand that how this problem will be solved. So one very well-known technique is Minkart theorem. Okay, so what is max flow Minkart theorem? If a graph is given, if we want to determine, so in that graph, source and sink is given. So the graph contains significant number of vertices and edges. So vertices represent the stations and edges represent their connectivity. So if we want to determine the maximum flow F, then this flow can be the minimum value of the all possible cuts of the graph. What is cut? So first we have to understand what is cut. So if a graph is given, so in that graph, so this is sink and this is source. So if the graph is like this, a cut represents that if we partition the graph, we have to partition the graph in such a way that it will be divided. So the set of vertices V is basically, it will be divided into a set V1 and another set V2. Okay, so if we partition the graph in such a way that there are two sets, one is V1, another set is V2, and if a vertex Vi belongs to V1, Vi never belongs to V2. So the vertices, so basically the relationship is V1 intersection V2 is null. So there is no common vertex. A vertex cannot reside in two partitions. Okay, so V is the whole set of the vertices of the graph, which has been partitioned into V1, V2, but intersection of V1 and V2 is null. So we are partitioning the graph into two subgraphs. Okay, how it will be partitioned? So we'll cut the edges in such a way so that it is being divided into two partitions. Okay, so you have to cut the graph in that way. So what can be a cut? A cut can be like this one. So this is a cut. Okay, a cut can be like this. Okay, a cut can be like this one. Another cut can be like this one. One cut can be like this. It can be another cut. Okay. Even if we want to cut the graph, we can cut it in this way. We can cut this graph in another way. To understand or distinguish the overlapping, let me cut this graph in this way. Okay, so there are lots of cuts of the graph. Now, if you can determine all the cuts of the graph, now from that cuts, we have to determine the flow through this cut. Okay, so the flow of each and every cut can be determined based on the capacity of the link. Just 1 minute, please. Hello, sir. So if we get all the cuts of a graph, then for each and every cut we can determine the flow. Now the flow, the minimum value of all the cuts will be the maximum flow of this network. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The thing is a little bit complex. Okay, we have some proof by which it can be proved that what will be the maximum flow. Now coming to this, we have to let us try to understand the problem first before going to the theoretical discussion. Here, if we take a simple graph like this, say this is 10 unit, this is 14 unit, this is 2 unit, it's 7, and this one is 20. Okay, so if we determine a cut, okay, so let me cut this graph. So if we cut this graph like this, okay, so through this cut, what can be the maximum flow? 10 plus 14 unit. Okay, so from this cut, it is 10 unit, and this one is 14 unit. So the edges which are being cut by this line is basically the maximum flow through this cut we can achieve. So through this cut, this value is 10 plus 14, so it's 24. Okay, if we consider another cut, just let me consider another cut like this. What will be the maximum flow through this cut? 2 unit plus 14 unit. So 2 plus 14 is 16 unit. Okay, so through this path or through this cut, maximum flow is 16 unit. Now, if we find another cut like this, what will be the flow through this? 10 plus 7. This one is 17 unit from source towards sink. Okay. Now here, if we consider this cut, for this cut, cost is 7 plus 2. So 7 plus 2 is 9. Okay. We have another cut here. So through this cut, cost is 20. Okay. Now, is there any other cut of this graph? Is there any other cut? Obviously, there are some other cuts also. The cuts are like this. So I'm using a different color because this cut will be little bit complex. So if we consider a cut like this, so what will be the cost? 20 plus 14 minus 7. Do you know why it's minus 7? How much flow from source towards sink? So source, this value from source towards sink, because this vertex, this one belongs to another set. So in V1, if source vertex belongs to V1 and this sink vertex belongs to V2 according to our graph partitioning, then we have to calculate the flow from S towards T. Okay, so which vertices belongs to V1? So basically V1 equals to here, this vertex is belongs to V1, this one belongs to V1, and this one belongs to V1. Okay, so these three vertices belongs to V1. And which vertices belongs to V2? In this case, this vertex and this vertex belongs to V2. What is the flow from set V1 to V2? So in this direction of source to sink, this unit is 14. Towards source to sink, this unit is 20. But this one, 7 unit flow is in reverse direction from V2 towards V1. So the maximum capacity is 20 plus 14 minus 7. Okay. So in that way, if you calculate all the cuts of a graph, then which one is minimum? The minimum cost is basically, what will be the minimum cost? So minimum cost of all this, so here it's 14, here it's 17, this value is much larger, this value is 16, this is 9. Okay, if these are the costs, which one is minimum among these cuts? The minimum cost is 9. Okay, so minimum cost among all the cuts of the graph is 9. So if 9 is the minimum cost of all the cuts, then 9 becomes the maximum value from the source to sink. Okay, is it fine? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Anyone else? সবাই বুঝতে পারছো? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So that's why the name of this theorem is max flow min cut. Okay, so we are going to calculate the maximum flow. So if we determine all the cuts of a graph, so for each and every cut, if we calculate the flow, then the minimum cut, that means the cut flows for all the paths of the cuts, which one is minimum value, that will be the maximum flow. So in our case, with this example, we have found that there are multiple cuts, and for each and every cut we have calculated the cost. After calculating this cost, now for which cut this value is minimum, that is the maximum flow of this network. So this is the theorem, which is max flow min cut theorem. But the problem of determining all the cuts of a graph is very difficult. If a graph is given, now from that graph, if you want to calculate this, all the possible cuts of the graph, then itself it's a NP hard problem. You don't know the term NP hard till now. We have not discussed it till that. We have learned only asymptotic complexity. Just to remember that if the problem is not solvable in polynomial time, then it belongs to NP category. Okay, and the problem belongs to NP category is very difficult to solve. So difficulty doesn't mean that it's a logical difficulty. So difficulty is basically in terms of complexity. If a problem is exponential time problem, then the problem takes very long time to solve. Okay, so exponential time problems are generally avoided in real life applications, because if the size of input is little bit large, then we can't solve the problem in real life. Okay, so it will take very long time. Just you can try in your home, when you will sit idle, just write a program to calculate all the possible numbers or all the possible strings that can be generated using 10 or 15 different characters or alphabet. Okay, all the possible strings that can be generated using this 15 alphabet. The program will run for long time. It will not be executed within fraction of second or within 1 or 2 seconds. The program will take very long time. Okay, so in reality, if we want to solve a problem which needs to be executed in very short time, because we need a feasible solution, so in very short time, otherwise the program cannot be applied in real life. So this cut of a graph and determining the all the possible cuts of a graph is exponential time problem. That's why we avoid this type of problems. So we have some heuristic algorithm by which we can solve the problem. Okay, so we'll come to that. The algorithm is known as Ford-Fulkerson method. Okay, so we will solve this problem using this technique, but this is a theoretical background by which we can prove that if we can determine the minimum cut of a graph, then the flow of this mean cut is the maximum flow of the network. Okay, later on this algorithm was published by Ford Fulkerson. So this algorithm is used to solve the problem, and it solves the problem in polynomial time. So let us come to this problem statement and scenario. Okay, we have discussed few things. Let us formalize it. Okay, so we are coming back to the beginning, and let us formalize the problem. Okay, so if the graph is given, so this is a flow network. So we have a source node S, this is the starting node or source, and this is the sink. From this source to sink, each and every vertices of the graph are marked by numbers. So we have to calculate the maximum flow between source to sink. Okay, so a flow, what can be the flow? A flow is basically, flow cannot be negative number, obviously. From source to sink, flow is a positive number. Okay, so if we want to calculate the flow, then how we have marked it? So this is the given graph. So these directions represent that from S to V1, 16 unit can be transferred in a clock. Okay, so in a clock we can transfer 16 unit from this to this. Okay, now in the second graph we represent that. So in earlier case, what we have done, we have just crossed out. Okay, we have just crossed the numbers and we have marked the 5 as the remaining capacity of the link. So here, instead of just crossing the value, here we are representing it in this way. So if the value is 11 by 16, so 11 by 16 means this 11 is remaining 11 is the capacity which is in use, and 16 is the capacity of the link. Okay, so we are representing it in this way. In this representation, 11 represents, this value represents the utilization. We can say that it's a utilization, and this value is basically the capacity of the link. This is capacity of the link and this is utilization. So we'll mark it in that way. So let us go to this algorithmic representation. Okay, so how we will determine? So you have to understand few definitions. Okay, so these definitions are basically residual network, cut of a graph, and some other definitions are also there. I am coming to that. So what is residual network? So residual network, basically, if the graph is given, from that graph, if we find a path, okay, so from this graph, if we find a path, like through this path, we have taken this path at the very beginning, what can be the flow of this path? Okay, just into that. What can be the flow of this path? If we, this is the initial graph which is given. This is a path through which source and sink is connected. What can be the maximum flow of this path?
12.
12. So the minimum value, so this value is 12. So 12 is the maximum flow through this path. So after allocating this 12, so if I use this 12 unit through this path, what will be the value? So 12 unit is utilized out of 16 in this path. 12 unit is utilized out of 12. In this path, 12 unit is utilized out of 20. So now after taking this path, the remaining capacity exists in this graph. So if I update the graph with the remaining capacity, then it is being represented as a residual graph. Okay. So a residual graph represents that some additional flow may be possible in this graph. Okay, because in this case, when you have marked it, is it the maximum flow of this network? No, we don't know whether this is the maximum flow, because through other path we may have some additional flow. So if we determine the residual graph, from the residual graph we can, in the next step we will try to find the additional flow that is possible from the residual graph. Okay, so in that way the maximum flow can be determined. So what will be the residual flow? So there is, from the residual graph, again the maximum flow will be determined. So we will determine the path. This path, which is connecting source and sink, this path is known as augmented path. Okay, so we have the definition here. So this is augmented path. Okay, so if a flow network G is given and a flow F is given, an augmenting path P is a simple path from S to T in the residual network G. Okay, so how this problem will be solved? So the solution is basically, if the graph is given, from that graph we will calculate our augmented path or augmenting path. After finding the augmented path, maximum flow of this path will be determined. Okay, after considering that flow through this path, now we have to update the graph as residual graph. Now from the residual graph, again we will try to find an augmented path. If the path exists, then through this path again calculate the maximum flow through this path. After that, again you have to generate the residual graph, determine augmented path. In that way, how long you will get augmented path, up to that you have to run this algorithm. When you don't have any augmented path, then the algorithm will stop. Okay, so in that way the problem is being solved. Okay, this is the mathematical representation what we have discussed earlier. So mathematical representation means, if we find a path, okay, so if we find a path P, okay, so what will be the flow? The maximum flow through this path will be the minimum value of the edges belongs to this path. Okay, we know that, we have already discussed it earlier. So if a graph is given which has multiple paths, so if this is a path and this is source to sink, then this vertices, the edges are, so we can represent that an edge UV. So this one is, if this one is U, this one is V, so this is the directed path. So capacity of UV, so capacity of UV, this is the capacity of UV for all the UV on P. So how many paths, edges are there on this path? In this example, 3 edges are there. So for all the edges on P, the cost value or the flow value of each and every edge will be considered. With in this set, which one is minimum, that becomes the flow of this path. Okay, so this is the mathematical representation to determine flow of a path. Of a path means augmented path, which connects source and sink. So for an augmented path, this is the maximum flow. Now after finding an augmented path and determining the maximum flow of this path, now you have to update the graph as residual graph, and from that residual graph you have to update the information. So from the residual graph again you have to find an augmented path. Okay, so this is what augmented path says. So do you understand what is augmented path? Any doubt in augmented path? Am I connected? Hello?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Now if we consider this max flow min cut theorem. So in max flow min cut we have used the term cut. Okay, cut st. So cut st represents that S is a set of vertices and T is another set of vertices. In when we have discussed it, we have divided this V into two subsets. One is V1 and V2. Here in this definition, we are saying that we are splitting the graph into two subsets. One is S and another one is T. So S is a collection of vertices, T is the remaining vertices. Okay, so instead of, so in earlier case we have represented S as V1 and T as V2. That's all. So T is basically V minus S. So the remaining vertices of the graph will be kept in T. Okay, so how these two partitions, how the graph will be partitioned? So obviously we have discussed that if S belongs to S, then T must be in the another set. So if we get a set of edges, elimination of the edges partitions the graph into two subgraphs, then this is known as, so in that case this is known as a cut of the graph. Okay, so if F is a flow, the next point is if F is the flow, then net flow across cut ST is defined as, this is the mathematical representation, that flow of S to T. Okay, so it is the capacity of the cut ST is CST. Okay, so we'll represent flow as F and C as cut. So FST is flow from S to T and C is the capacity of S to T. So minimum cut of the network is the cut whose capacity is minimum over all the cuts of the network. We have discussed it earlier. So these are the points which are to be considered during max flow min cut theorem. Okay, this is just we are formalizing it. So if a graph is given, then we have to partition it into two subgraphs, and what will be the maximum flow, that can be determined in this way. So let us come to this algorithmic part. So at the very beginning, how the problem will be solved. This problem solves, this algorithm solves the problem in polynomial time. We will come to that. We will come to algorithmic its complexity analysis later. But at this moment, let us try to understand the algorithm, how the problem is being solved. So if a graph is given, so this is the graph, this is starting vertex and this is sink. So source and sink is given in a graph. Now for each and every edge of the graph, we will initialize flow as 0. For each and every edge of the graph, we will initialize the flow as 0. So we are assuming that initially there is no flow. So FUV indicates that the flow in the direction of U to V, and FVU represents the flow in opposite direction. So at the very beginning, we are considering that flow in both of this direction is 0. Now we will try to calculate the maximum flow. Okay. Okay. So let us try. Oh. So now we are running a loop. Using this loop, what we are trying to find? So using this loop, if there exists a path P from S to T in residual network GF, we are representing residual network using GF. So if there is a path which exists from S to T in the residual graph, then what will be the flow of this graph? So this is the definition we have discussed earlier. So it will be the minimum flow of all the edges on that path. So that will be the flow of this residual path, augmented path. Okay, this is the flow of the augmented path. Now for each edge UV in P, you have to update the flow information. So what is the flow through this path? This is the flow through this path. So previous flow was FUV. Okay, previous flow was FUV. So FUV, if this is the previous flow, then what will be the additional flow? Just we have determined the path P for which the maximum flow is CFP. So that will be added as the flow of that edge. Okay. So what does it indicate? So initially for each and every vertex, this value is 0. Okay. So this value is 0. Okay, initially these values are 0. Now if we find a path, okay, so if we find a path like this, what will be the maximum flow through this path? 12 unit. So this CFP is 12. If we determine this augmented path from residual network, then this is 12. So what will be the flow through this path? It will be previous value was 0 and now we have got 12. So 0 plus 12. So that is 12. So now it will be updated 12 by 16. It will be updated 12 by 12. It will be updated by 12 by 20. For rest of the part, it will remain same. Okay. And another thing is, in opposite direction, we are considering an edge here, and it is being marked as FVU as negative of FUV. Okay, FUV is basically negative edge. So here basically we are considering that the in opposite direction this cost is minus 12. So here in opposite direction the cost is minus 12 again. Here in opposite direction cost is minus 12 again. Now after this we have got the residual graph. From the residual graph again we will try to find another augmented path. So until an augmented path exists, this loop will run. If there is no augmented path, no more augmented path, then this algorithm will terminate. Okay, so this is the way how this problem is being solved. So this is the technique of Ford-Fulkerson algorithm. So you have to write a program by which you can solve this problem, and it will be given as assignment in lab. So you have to solve the problem. Here in programming, the major challenge is finding the augmented path. How do you find an augmented path from a graph if source and sink is given? In a graph, if source and sink is given, if the task is you have to find a path from source to sink, which algorithm will you use to find it? Hello, you have already learned in data structure. Forget about network flow. If a graph is given and you have to find a path from a specific starting vertex to a specific terminating vertex, which algorithm will you use? Depth first or breadth first?
DFS.
Yeah, DFS will be used. So again, you have to write DFS algorithm. You have already implemented it in earlier labs. So using DFS algorithm, you have to solve this. So using DFS, you can find the path from source to sink, and then after getting this path, now you have to check the flow through this path, and you have to update the edges. Again, the residual graph is being formed. From the residual graph, again in the next iteration, if you get any path, then you have to proceed, otherwise it will terminate.
Hello, sir.
হ্যাঁ,
বলছি এফ অফ ভিউটা নেগেটিভ অফ এফ ইউভি নেওয়া হচ্ছে কেন? কারণ তো এফ অফ ভিউ এর কোনো তো ফাংশন নেই বেসিক্যালি।
আছে আছে আমি till now I have not discussed with this example. I'm just thinking that whether you are being overloaded or not. In the next class, I will give you one example where this negative edge, this negative flow is very important. Okay. Let me show you. This is source and this is sink, and say in this direction it can flow 12 unit, in this direction it can flow 4 unit. It will be a little bit complex right now. I can discuss, and I need more time. We have only 7 minutes in hand. Negative flow is important. I will give one example. Basically, in this given example, it can be discussed that why the negative flow needs to be considered. Okay. So basically in a graph, if two vertices are connected, so we may have flow in both of the direction. Okay. As in this given graph, it is mentioned that from V1 to V2, capacity is 10 unit, and from V2 to V1, capacity is 4 unit. Okay. So from V1 to V2, capacity is 10, and from V2 to V1, capacity is 4 unit. Now, why negative edge is important? The importance of negative edge is basically, say, in this direction, if we pass 10, okay, if we pass 8 units in this direction, we are passing 8 unit in this direction. It is not exceeding the capacity. 8 unit is not exceeding this capacity. In this direction, the flow capacity is 4 unit, and in this direction the flow capacity is 10 unit. Is there any relationship between these two, 4 and 10?
যেহেতু ভিত্তিতে আছে ওই একই টাইমে 4 ইউনিট ভিত্তিতে তৈরি হচ্ছে।
ভয়েস ক্লিয়ার হচ্ছে না, আরেকটু বলো।
মানে এট এ টাইম 10 ইউনিট যদি ভিত্তিতে ইনকামিং হয়, তো ওই টাইমটাতেই 4 ইউনিটটা ভিত্তি থেকে আউটগোয়িং হবে। তো আলটিমেটলি 6 ইউনিট অ্যাজ এ ক্যাপাসিটি কনস্ট্রেট থাকতে হবে।
Okay. Basically, if 8 unit in this link, if 8 unit is the 10 unit is capacity, but 8 unit flow is from V1 to V2. But these two vertices are linked by edges. So in that case, if we want to calculate the flow in the opposite direction, the capacity can be 8 plus 4. Okay. In this direction, just I am assuming this is X, this is Y. Y can send 10 unit data, X can send 4 unit data. Okay. From then, if Y is sending, say this is number of books, so Y is sending, or number of pens, so Y is sending 10 pens to X, and X can send 4 pens to Y. Now, if X is receiving something from Y and X want to share something to Y, then X may say that you don't need to send, Y is sending 6 unit and X is sending 4 unit. Out of 4, it is utilizing the whole link, and here it is sending 6 units out of 10 capacity. Now X may say that you don't need to send me 6 unit, you can just send me 2 unit, then I will not send anything to you, then it will be balanced. Isn't it? So if X is receiving 6 unit from Y, and out of 6 again 4 units is being returned, so what X can say, just send me only 2 units, then I will not return you anything. So it will be the ultimately balanced, because you will send me 6 unit, I will return you 4 unit. So that doesn't affect if you just give me 2 units. So this is the consideration. That's why we have to use this negative flow. Okay. Another thing is we don't have time. For each and every intermediate vertex except sink and source, the incoming flow should be, so sum of incoming flow should be equal with sum of outgoing flow. For all vertices belongs to V except S and T. Except source and T or sink, for all other vertices, the incoming flow should be equal with outgoing flow. Okay. So we will discuss the rest of the part of this network flow in the next class. You have another class now. So let us just wrap up this session for today. Okay. I will download that.
স্যার এই স্টাডি ম্যাটেরিয়ালটা একটু দিয়ে দেবেন।
আচ্ছা, তোমরা বই জোগাড় করেছো না কি করছো? পড়াশোনা করছো? বইটই দেখো, আমরা বললে তোমরা তো কিছু মানবে না, এটা একটা বড় প্রবলেম। কিন্তু যদি ইন্ডাস্ট্রি হোক, একাডেমিক্সে হোক, যেখানেই যেতে চাও, 3টে পেপার লাইফে ভুলতে পারবে না। একটা হচ্ছে ডেটা স্ট্রাকচার আর অ্যালগোরিদম। আর একটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট পেপার আছে, যদিও সেটা তোমাদের এখন মানে তোমাদের অ্যাকর্ডিং টু বিটেক কারিকুলাম দ্য সিলেবাস ইজ নট প্রপার। ইউ উইল লার্ন দ্য থিংস ইন ইন্ডাস্ট্রি, দ্যাট ইজ database management system, operating system, DBMS, data structure and algorithm. These papers are very important for your career. আমি স্টাডি মেটেরিয়াল দিয়ে দেবো, কিন্তু পারলে বই কেনো। সফট কপি পেয়ে গেছো,